Good afternoon. How's everybody doing today? We are coming to order for our May work session. We're going to start off here. Tomorrow, we're having a celebration of Central Cabarrus, the men's basketball, the Vikings that won the state championship again. And we're going to, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. at the Courthouse Plaza, we're going to have a county and city celebration with them there. So if you want to come and have a good time, please. Love to have you there. But for the record today, I'm going to go ahead and start with reading our proclamation that will be presented again tomorrow to them. Whereas Central Cabarrus High School's men's basketball team won the 23-24 North Carolina Athletic Association's 3A state championship on March 15, 2024 for the second consecutive year. And whereas the Vikings defeated the Falcons of 71st High School 90-62 to defend the state championship title and end the season with an impressive 33-0. Pretty impressive. Whereas the state championship marked the Vikings' 65th straight victory, achieving the nation's longest winning streak of 65-0. Whereas the Vikings have a 3-year record of 95-1 and a 4-year record of 107-3. And whereas the Vikings led the country in scoring in 2023 and 2024, and whereas the Vikings won 4 straight South Piedmont Conference regular season and won 3 straight South Piedmont Conference tournaments, whereas the Vikings were ranked back-to-back #1 team in North Carolina by Phantom Hoop Report in high school OT, and ranked number 21 by Max Prep, number 8 by Ball is Life, and number 17 by USA Today Super 25, and number 9 in the current top 30. That's in the country. Whereas City of Concord recognized the players, head coach Jim Baker, the assistant coaches and staff, the entire Central Cabarrus High School community for their hard work and achievements throughout the school year. Now, therefore, I, William C. Dush, Mayor of the City of Concord, on behalf of City Council, do hereby proclaim tomorrow, May 8th, 2024, is in City of Concord as Vikings Day. I don't think I have ever seen numbers like that before, and I hope we keep seeing it, so I will tomorrow. All right, moving on to number 2 tonight for the work session. We're going to do the proclamation recognizing May 19th through 24th as National Public Works Week. If we could have Philip and who else is going to be here? Jeff, are you coming down? Oh, we have. Come on down. You know, I'll take these. All right. So, I'm going to read a proclamation here, and then Philip, I will you guys to sort of chime in on some things. Whereas public works service provided for our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and the support of the understanding and information industry to be vital for efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewer, streets, highway, public buildings, and solid waste collection. Whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community depends greatly on the facilities and services, whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are vitally important upon the effort and skills of public works officials. Whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitudes and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Now, therefore, I, William C. Bush, Mayor of the City of Concord, along with City Council, hereby proclaim the week of May 19th through 25th, 2024 as National Public Works Week in the City of Concord, and urge all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public service work and to recognize the contributions which
The Public Works Departments, across the nation, American Public Works Association commonly recognizes this. Here at the City of Concord, it's even more than the departments listed that are listed nationally. Here's wastewater, water, stormwater, transportation, electric, fleet, buildings and grounds, electric, I said electric again, engineering, surveying services, the whole, that is, if you come to the Brown Operations Center, that's your public works, that's who's keeping the lights on, keeping the water running, keeping the roads open, all of these things. So these are folks from each one of those departments, the ones that actually do the work. And
introduce who you have and what department.
that would be a great, great task here. I'm gonna try to go off my cheat sheet the best I can. And so we have. I'm going to read off the list as I have it.
It's a nice shade of red.
First off, I have it wrong. So we got Eric Miller from wastewater, Frank Klein from stormwater, Darren Helms from water, Chris McDonald from buildings and grounds, and me. Solid waste services, Chris Holzhauser from transportation, Scott Drive from fleet, Dylan Drive from electric, Justin Silver from engineering, surveying services. God, hey, how about that?
That's really good. Just to add to this, USA Today just did what, Lloyd, they named us the second city to move to in North Carolina, and it talks about some of the things that we do along those lines. So thank you for all you do. This is great. Yeah.
I will get a quick picture of this bag, and y'all just kind of squeeze in between the two columns behind you. The seal will be in the middle. Just squeeze in as much as you can. All right, keep squeezing. Come over this way. Come on, you guys. Now we're just a tad. Y'all come in, keep coming. All right. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three.
Thank you. Let's go to another round of applause.
And for the item 3, presentation proclamation recognizes the week, May 10 to 16, National Police Week. That'll be Thursday, along with proclamation recognizing May as Mental Health Awareness Month. Moving on to presentations, informational items. Lloyd, presentation of Wilkinson Home Repositioning Project.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Call on Della to come forward. She's going to introduce the consultants this evening who's going to brief council on this development. So Della, if you would.
Hello, Della.
Afternoon, Mayor. Is with her, and they have a short presentation.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for having us. Again, my name is Sheila Jones, and I'm with Selenium Consulting Partners, and we are a development consulting firm that was hired through a competitive RFP process to represent the Housing Department in a HUD repositioning process, as well as a redevelopment of Wilkinson homes. I think, yes. And so as a part of the process, I work as a consultant that partners with the right trades for a particular process. And in this case, I have brought along with me a firm by the name of C.A. Harris. Carl Harris is here with me. And C.A. Harris is responsible for full-service construction management and design management. And so Carl will work with us throughout the construction management process, helping to evaluate the construction contracts and the construction contract along with the design process. I also have on the team a firm named Delt Group, and they could not be here with us this evening. And the Delt Group is responsible for resident relocation administration. And this firm has lots of experience specifically with the Uniform Relocation Act and making sure that we are compliant with all of the state, local, and federal regulations as it relates to resident management. Finally, I have Morrisburg Architects, who are also here with us. They are a local architectural firm, and they are responsible for designing and developing the master plan for the property, as well as will be doing the architectural designs. So you all know Wilkinson Homes is a community that is owned by the city. It was built in 1951, and I will not read every word, just to say that the property has extended its useful life. It is, has not had any major capital improvements made since it has been built. There were some slight
kind of to the plan right, just kind of up the hill in Topo, past where the 12 home sign is where the current play area is, where there's a backstop, a swing set that kind of needs a little love in places, and also a community shelter. There's also minimal off-street parking on the site. That is primarily towards the bottom, where the current clubhouse sits. So this was something that we found out when we started talking with and rolling out our plans with the community, was having other opportunities to be off-street parking. There's constant cars going too fast, obviously for children to play on the street. So we're looking through design techniques to also slow down the cars, but then also just have more kind of curb cuts. Because if you look at primarily where the majority of the houses is, there's no curb cuts around those. All the houses line it, and so there's not really any visual cues as you kind of go around the site that there might need to be, you might need to slow down or something like that. So we'll be looking at that through our design to try to hopefully naturally slow down some of the traffic that is coming through the site. So this is what we're currently looking at for the proposed site plan. We have the overall magenta, smaller dash is the site itself, and then what is highlighted in yellow or surrounded in yellow would be our first phase. What is orange is the second, which kind of Dayball kind of cuts the site in half. And then the home ownership property would be that third phase that's in the magenta, kind of to the upper left. We're looking at the extension of Alcott Place that's already been, that already has its right-of-way in the design, and then the extension of Corey to kind of make that connection and unlock that back parcel. So we're bringing more houses to the street and more community to the street, but also giving people more opportunities to park closer to their houses with angled parking versus traditional parallel parking, and then also having off-street parking, as you can see, with two lots that are closest to the garden-style apartments, and then also the more traditional style apartments. This next one goes a little bit closer, so it's a little bit easier to talk to. So we can always come back to this if we need to. So here, this is the first phase. So you see the two garden-style apartments are what's on either side of the off-street parking, which is the darker rectangle. And then the rest of the housing is a townhome model. So the townhome model would range from 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath to 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath to look for generational housing. So when the opportunities come, that it's not just the parents and kids, but you're looking at grandparents that might need to move in as well. That 4-bedroom that currently sits on site that we would be maintaining those counts. For the housing in the garden-style apartments, they would not exceed 2 stories. Nothing in the community is going to be above 2 stories as it's currently designed, but it would step up from Dayball at 1 story to 2 story to kind of mimic what's on the townhomes off of Alcott Place. But this opportunity would also give more kind of the flatter region of the site to be more accessible for ADA units and to kind of be located here where we have off-street parking that could then be accessible spaces to cater to that. As we go to the next phase, there's another multifamily building to the bottom left on the portion with Corey, as you can see, and this would have 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units, and then more of the multifamily, or excuse me, the townhome product kind of sprinkled in and around. So this would look at 56 new units coming in the second phase, and then the third phase, like we mentioned, is in the magenta on the top. That would be 12 units for home ownership. And as we look a little bit closer to what this community node is, I think talking with everybody within the community, it's what currently is there is out of sight, out of mind, for lack of a better term. So if you're not going up there with your kids, there can be things that are happening up there that nobody really wants to talk about. So trying to bring that community node into the heart of the community and looking at CPTED principles, which is crime prevention through environmental design and natural surveillance, that everybody kind of has the community best intentions, and to make sure that nothing that's not wanted there can be in that community node. So we look at the playground, a concrete pad, so on rainy days there's still a place to ride a bike or play Foursquare or hopscotch or any other kind of assortment of games that you're not playing in the mud. But then also a community garden. So as we talk about generations living here, somebody else's, a neighbor could be in that community garden while their neighbor's kids play on the playground. But trying to create, the neighborhood and create all those chance interactions where, we're building the whole community together. Another big part of this is trying to bring the bus stop that we're working with the Department of Transportation into the center of the site. So therefore, it's still is in discussions and hasn't been fine tooth combed yet, but with that is something we're working on. I think that's the conclusion of what I have. Is there any questions, or apologize, I don't know what the format?
Council? Questions?
I have one, and I believe you covered it, but just to be sure. So right now, where the current playground is that sits behind the set on Davot Street, that will be relocated within this plan.
Yes, it'll be a new. We aren't going to take what's existing and move it. It'll be a new playground.
A new playground.
Yes.
And the clubhouse, is that where the current old office is?
No, so the current clubhouse is in the bottom left, so it's kind of by itself with the on-street parking right there in the bottom left of the plan, on Dayball and Balloon. So we'll be moving that into the center. So the mailboxes, everything will be moved to that, to more
Bottom
Dayball.
left or bottom right?
Thank you, bottom right.
Okay.
Two questions.
Yes, J.C.?
There was one slide that had a hopeful construction start. You kind of jumped by it. Was that first quarter 25 that we think we may be?
Yes, so we have to meet the HUD requirements, and so we can't start relocation of residents until we get to a point called the RAD commitment to convert, which happens 60 to 90 days before closing. So we expect that we'll get that in the fall. We expect then it will close at the beginning of 2025, which then gives us permission to start to demolish and reconstruct.
Phase one.
And that was also part of the phasing with Dayball is the idea that we can get everybody who currently lives on the site to the left of Dayball, and then kind of have it so everybody doesn't have to move off-site and then back. So we hopefully keep that core community.
Okay, and this is great, because this is my next question. It looks like you're using every inch of the site. Was there ever any consideration of some small amount of commercial mixed use on the property besides just residential? Any conversation?
No, we looked at where the site is now, being in a community, in a neighborhood, so we did not engage that conversation with the housing department. And from a HUD regulatory perspective, that might be difficult. in
Understand.
The use of the land, because HUD will continue to have a use agreement, and they would want to ensure a level of affordability. So, no, we did not consider
Okay.
commercial or
Understand.
non-residential uses.
And last question, Steve, is this zone for this density? 107 on 7.5 acres. That's all we, Kevin's nodding his head.
Maybe 4. And question, phases 2 and 3, when do you think those will be completed?
We have not timed the second and third phase yet. We want to get through our first phase with HUD, making sure that they're comfortable. Sometimes that can take longer, and then the second and third phases go faster. So we don't have an answer for the timing of the second and third phase at this time.
Okay, on phase 1, just to be clear, if you're closing first quarter of 25, is that completion or start date?
Start date.
And how long do you think for phase 1 will take?
Phase one, we're looking at least 18 months.
18 months, okay.
There's a lot of site work that we're looking at too. Currently, the waste for the sewer runs straight through the middle of the blocks. That makes more sense when you look at this, like kind of right where 18 to 16 homes are. We're looking to put all those within the easement of Dayball. So there's a little bit of a dance with that as well, and that's what kind of causes that.
I have another question or questions about the relocation. I understand that that party isn't here today. So I'm glad to hear that no family will be displaced, because that's a true concern that's been shared in the community. And I understand that HUD will pay for relocation. Can you just share what that looks like?
Yes, so again, the Uniform Relocation Act, that we're required to follow that. So in this case, we're attempting to touch the families as less as possible. So if you look at how phase 1 is designed, the families that will be relocated in that first phase will likely move twice. We will pay for packing and moving of those families. DELP has already completed a 100% family assessment. And so they have gone door to door
And infrastructure question, I'm not sure, construction guy. So the apartments are old, so the infrastructure is old. I'm-
Gotta ask.
Gotta ask.
Gotta ask.
That, and when you asked about the construction phasing, that's 18 months after we get the civil work, water, sewer, because everything is too small, it's too old. So really, with the new streets, we'll want to run the infrastructure, at least in the Clinton strips or near the street, or to redirect, to reconnect on the surrounding streets.
Okay.
Andy?
At the recent North Carolina League of Municipalities, several of us, most of us went and saw a tour of what Winston-Salem has done. And it was impressive, and they were excited, and they were thankful for HUD. So I'm very excited about this. I think this could be a major boost. My question is, do we have money to begin first quarter 25?
So we're looking at the financing for development now. We are expecting to likely come back and talk with you about city bonds, which have low and favorable interest rates. So that is one source of funding. We are also looking at some affordable loans, what we call soft loan programs from AHP, the Affordable Federal Home Loan Bank as a financing source. So we're looking at that now, but the larger debt product, we hope to be able to have bond financing to support the affordability of the project.
As the Winston-Salem people told us, they had to make 3 different applications. It took them several years. Do you anticipate that this will be approved by HUD?
So I'm familiar with that situation, and Winston-Salem used tax credits. They used competitive 9% tax credits. We are not using the tax credit program for that reason. It is extremely competitive, and the resources are very short in North Carolina. So we are not using the tax credit, low-income housing tax credit program, which is why we're excited and hopeful on bond financing, because it is also inexpensive, that low interest rate, longer terms that will make it more affordable. But so I understand that when you're in a competitive tax credit situation, there are only so many awards that are given on an annual basis, and a housing authority or developer partner can need to go in multiple times. In this case, for the Rental Assistance Demonstration, it's an as-of-right program. So what HUD will be, when we go and submit our concept plan and our financing plan, HUD will only be testing financial feasibility. They will not be issuing approval or disapproval. They will be looking to see how we have put together the plan, whether or not we are in compliance with their housing and Uniform Relocation Act, as well as having a financially feasible project. And being that means not just being able to cover the cost of development, but also providing them with a 20-year operating performance that shows that the property will be able to pay for whatever debt that we take out and still be able to operate. So though that is what HUD will be looking at, less of approving or disapproving.
I have one last question. Where will the residents be relocated to? Do we have ample housing to move them to?
Yes, so we will look at on-site. So at some point, we will start to do what we call hold vacant. So as units become vacant, we will hold them vacant for the purposes of relocation. We will also look at vacant units in your other properties that the housing department owns as a source of relocation.
Other questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to, on the departmental reports, that'll be Thursday, Parks and Rec bond update and downtown streetscape update. Public hearings, number 1, conduct a public hearing to consider adopting a resolution approving an amendment to the installation financing contract.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jessica talked a little bit about this last month, and so she's going to come forward and discuss this again in anticipation of the public hearing on Thursday.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Mr. Ms. Eason. We have been working through the process for the issuance of the logs for Fire Station 6, as well as potentially refunding our 2014 A logs that were for City Hall. There is a required public hearing, and so that is what this step is a public hearing for that process. The LGC application was actually submitted today for their approval next month at their meeting. So this
Any questions from council?
I think that I said something to Lloyd earlier, but the bond issue is about 17 million, is that correct?
The new debt is about 12 million.
12 million,
Yeah, the rest of it is refunding the old.
financing of the old bonds. The total debt's 517.
All right. Thank you. Item 2, conduct a public hearing, consider adopting an ordinance annexing 15.382 acres.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Calling Alden from the Planning Department to come forward and provide this staff report to council this evening.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Golchinsky, and Ms. Deason. This is an annexation petition for 3 parcels off of Ellenwood Road. It's approximately it is currently zoned Cabarrus County low-density residential, and the proposed zoning would be City of Concord Residential Village, and this is for the potential construction of 108 rear-load townhomes. Here are a few drone pictures from earlier this week. You can see in the top left-hand corner, Ellenwood. This is where the entrance to that would be, and it is this wooded area. It is surrounded by the townhomes of Winding Walk, and you can also see that is Edison Square is also on the other side of this parcel. If you look at the zoning map, you can see other than this small red area here, that is still in Cabarrus County. The rest is, it is surrounded by City of Concord zoning, and the RV zoning does match with what is currently there. The land use plan amendment, again, here this is designated as Village Center. The proposed RV zoning is a corresponding zoning classification, so if this annexation is approved and goes to planning and zoning, they would be able to make a decision as to move forward. It would not have to come back to council for approval. We did send out letters notifying of this annexation to adjacent property owners, recognized neighborhoods, and HOAs. This was sent initially on March 27th, and then was also advertised in the Independent Tribune on March 31st. We did have multiple inquiries about the annexation, not about the annexation itself, but about the rezoning and the townhomes that could be built afterwards. So I do know that we have received multiple letters from Winding Walk about what will happen after this annexation. And we do know that the applicants, Warren Van Allen, will be here on Thursday, and they will have a brief presentation about their plans for this property should it be annexed. The next steps would be to consider the annexation and adopt or deny. If you have any questions for staff, I'm more than happy to answer those.
Questions?
Mr. Mayor, what are the implications of this about sewer?
They have applied for sewer. Sewer has not been.
So this is a future development.
And future may not be in the next few years because of sewer. 2 or 3 years or more.
And Valerie answered this question earlier, but the applicant realizes that. So,
They do,
by the
yes.
way, the zoning sign, it's hard to see.
We've actually got to know about that, and that's one thing that is on our line to
Okay.
figure out why it was, yeah.
It's
Okay.
buried behind a tree.
Yeah, this is the second comment I've had on that. So
We have talked about 2-sided signs, so
we have.
one thing downtown, it's another where this one is.
And that road is narrow.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's another story.
Any more questions? All right, thank you very much. Move to item 3, conduct a public hearing, consider adopting an ordinance amending Article 8 use regulations, residual use categories, and Article 14 definitions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Steve will present this item this evening to council.
Sir, Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. Payne, Mr. Chansky, Ms. Deason, this is a text amendment to Article 8, Section 8.3, and it's residential uses that allow keep of chickens as accessory use in all zoning districts. So I'm just going to give a brief summary on how we got here. After the February council meeting, council directed staff to draft a proposed for your consideration. The planning department started researching other cities in the area. Fred Long work on it with a pretty educated guess without a lot of research. So a half acre, which is where the proposal, the draft ordinance starts, is 6,077 lots or parcels. Go to 1 acre, we're down to 1,978 parcels. Finally, 2 acres, which would be the minimum to keep the maximum number of chickens of 15, that goes all the way down to 619.
That's included in the 1 acre and larger,
Yes, sir.
obviously. Okay.
So next is your statement of reasonableness, and we have two for you. One, if you choose to adopt it, could be changed by council. One, if you choose not to, then your steps are standard, and that's considered text. Chapter 8. I will be glad to answer any questions. I'll go ahead. There's probably one question somebody's going to ask, and that is the sale of pigs. That retail sale is not permitted as a home use district. It doesn't mean to someone who has chickens cannot bring their eggs to work or farmers market or wherever and so on. Just could not run as a house. Another one that we have been asked is disposing of chickens by ordinance, duffel bag, throw in the trash or bury. And then third question that we've been asked is sanitary. No definition for sanitary. Code officer when you go out, whether or not. So those are 3 questions that we've been asked.
All right.
I have just one question.
Go ahead.
It's more about the process than Steve than anything about, how do I apply for the ability to do this? Then is the code, does every chicken coop get inspected and signed off on, or how's that work? No?
Not under our proposal. You would come in, same way you would if you want to add a deck to your house. You come in, get a zoning clearance permit. Planning would issue that with a $42 fee, go over the regulations.
So unless somebody complained, you'd never know what the applicant really has back there. Is that correct? Okay.
Other questions?
So Steve, I'm assuming you made a comment though that P and Z discussed the merit of larger lot sizes. Those numbers were very helpful, by the way, because John and I were just discussing the merit of lot sizes as well. Can you share with me, I'm assuming, like when you look at these numbers, there's a significant difference between, because if you're gonna pass an ordinance, your hope is that you have impact on people that would want to keep chickens, correct? And so was part of that merit of large lot going from the 1 to the 0.5, just that it could potentially, because I know that, you could probably guess 30 to 40% on the low side of those are going to be included in HOA, right? In my mind, right, from a residential perspective. So that's not going to be that actual number. But is that where that discussion came into play?
Yeah, so planning commission really went both ways. On one, there were comments that it should start at 1 acre and up, and there was even a comment that if you want chickens, it should be a county. From there, it went to 0.25 because numerous cities had a charge of 0.25. So it went back and forth, and in the end, they came back and landed, which is where all through started with the half acre, which was kind of the middle of the road. It's not as restrictive, but not too restrictive. And that's kind of where it came. And interesting, planning commission really went the same path that our mixed group from 4 departments.
And Steve,
I have a second question. I have a second question.
Second question.
So my second question really is more to the chief from an enforcement perspective. I would assume, and I think we kind of alluded to it over here, had the pleasure of serving on the HOA board in my neighborhood before, and a lot of times, the only way that John got in trouble for his trampoline was because I got in trouble for my trampoline, so I called on John, right? Or John's kids were too loud, so I called the HOA, right? And because I want to be very mindful of, from an enforcement standpoint, I mean, this is something that's very important to a group of people, and at the same time, we are going to have to prioritize, if you will. And I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on, from a standpoint of enforcement.
Right, so code enforcement has already thought through what this is gonna look like. They're planning on keeping track of the number of complaints that come in, and I would fully anticipate it's gonna be just as you described. One person gets complained on, and they're gonna say, well, so-and-so has it, so-and-so hasn't. So I think we anticipate that it's going to increase over time until it kind of levels out. But really, it's an unknown for us, how impactful it's gonna be.
That's all, thank you.
Andy?
Go ahead, Andy. Go ahead. I have one more.
So I'll put something out maybe for us to think about between now and Thursday. With what Chief just said, maybe we do increase it to the 1 acre and above and see what happens over the next year or two and get some feedback, and then open it up a little bit more. Just something to think about between now and Thursday, that may be. I think I would support more initially at the 1 acre and above to see what happens, so that we don't just jump off in the deep end. But that's something to think about.
Let me ask a question along those lines. The family that came to present to us, I'm assuming their housing is more than 1 acre with what they have. 10 acres, so they would be cleared. I'm a little concerned that we're not having any control, like we control everything that's being built around here except now chicken coops. I think the only thing I heard was they gotta be 5 feet high. There's no process for, it's gotta look like this, it's gotta be this, it's nothing. So I can build my own out of chicken wire and baling wire and whatever, and nobody cares.
Yeah, I mean, the pins, I mean, they're built out of a certain type of chicken wire.
Tractor Supply.
Yes, sir. Coops come in all sizes and shapes. For that matter, you could take a shed and turn it into a coop.
Terry, we don't have standards on residential.
Well.
So, we don't have standards on where you live.
Rear-loaded townhomes, I know.
John?
Yeah, I just want to, this is a good conversation. I believe in the sustainability part of this, definitely, especially as prices rise in the grocery stores. And I was reading that, one chicken per month is about 20 eggs, something close to that, I think, is numbers I saw. But I want to tap on to what JC said. It depends on the setback of the home on the lot, about the setbacks we have that we're going to require of those chicken coops. So having that acre and above would probably help out with a lot of complaints in the first session of this, or first season we have of this, and go from there. Because, like I said, the position of the house on the lot, and we have these setbacks that we're requiring, it could get sketchy. And not every, I like what we've laid out here, but not every person wants that in their neighborhood, and not every person wants it in their backyard. So HOAs will come into play pretty much with this, depending. And my largest concern is just what Jennifer had said about increased taxing on our staff. Not only have we, between February and now, have you gone to bat and your staff really laid into this and put some extra hours in for us, but now the policing control, of lack of better words, policing and enforcement, or however you want to phrase it, is going to be a pretty much burden on our people as far as associates.
I have one last question.
Go ahead.
It's probably a dumb question, but how are we going to market this? This ordinance, I mean, how are we going to know? You gonna put it in the paper that council passes chicken law or something? Is that how we're doing it?
He's right there. That's what he's doing.
Council goes.
Oh, that's what Chris is doing now? Okay.
Yeah.
Chris, we have not passed it yet, so
Not
don't
passed
put
it
it on
yet,
the front
Chris.
page,
Don't
please.
Yes, yeah, not yet, Chris. I do have a HOA question, just to make sure this on the record. An HOA cannot have, say, where we have 15 chickens, they say, we're gonna allow 30. They can only go what we have or less. Okay.
More restricted, not
More restricted, not less restricted. Okay.
I think from the onset, I would support what JC is saying in the 1 acre, to start. I feel like that's a wise idea. I do have some concerns to your point, Terry, about the structure and how the structures are to look. You could use any old metal box, and I think you're gonna end up, do we have the possibility of neighbor against neighbor on this? Not only an enforcement issue, but, I mean, are we stirring up? Are we putting a fox in the hen house? And a standard for that of some type?
Very base. Yeah, very base. I mean, there's some extremely elaborate chicken.
But I'll challenge that too. What are we gonna, is there something in our ordinance for dog houses? I mean, there's no, we can't,
Patios or
yeah,
anything?
decks. I mean, honestly, like, this is something that it would open up. You would have to look at every ordinance that we had from that perspective, and I think it's, I
But
understand the
again, Steve,
concern.
it's gotta be in the backyard, and it's
Yeah.
gotta be 50 feet away from a resident, so it's gotta be in the backyard. Can't be on the side. It's just like RVs. You can't keep an RV in your front yard, but people do. So, you know, I think it's there.
And the safety of the animal. And the safety of the animal would be code enforcement's, like, I forget what language you used of sanitary, that they would have to, I mean, because that's important, right? You don't also want individuals that are not just like dogs, right? That's why we passed that leash law a few years ago, so.
And if I could just chime in real quick, it's almost standard for HOAs to prohibit poultry. It's just a standard clause that's in your restrictive covenants. So any established neighborhood that has the HOA, the restrictive covenants, that's already going to be in there.
Any more questions, comments, thoughts? All right. Cluck away.
Put this in your resume.
Moving on to petitions and requests. Number one, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with Land Design.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Calling George to come forward and give this staff report to council this evening.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, Mr. Penny, Ms. Kolchinsky, and Ms. Easton. This request is to authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with Land Design Incorporated for preliminary design and 30% design of Hector H. Henry Greenway for the amount of $204,245. Slide in front of you is the map that's in the scope of the contract. As we move toward reaching the council's goal of having 30 miles of greenway and multi-use path by 2030, there are currently 6.9 miles of completed greenway in the Hector Henry Greenway system along the Rocky River, including the Mills at Rocky River, Riverwalk, and Moss Creek sections. 1.6-mile Canyon Crossing section is currently under preliminary design by the engineering department. It will extend from the future Poplar Tent Trailhead Park to connect with the existing Moss Creek Greenway section. Adopted open space connectivity analysis plan notes 3 additional sections to be designed and developed in future years. Golf course speedway phase, the Cox Mill High School to DeRuyter Road phase, and this section, a 1.15-mile phase that sits between the Cox Mill High School to DeRuyter and the Canyon Crossing sections. This phase is from Cox Mill High School to the Poplar Tent Trailhead Park, and we refer to it as Phase 3. Recently, a property owner along the Rocky River south of Poplar Tent Road contacted Parks and Rec to discuss the future potential alignment across their property in consideration of an easement. With
Thank you. Any questions of George? Thank you. Number 2, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate and execute a purchase contract with Safeware Incorporated.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief Hughes is going to come up. He's going to cover items 2, 3, and 4, which are interconnected for council this evening. So, Jamie.
Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Mr. Jacinski, Ms. Deason. The next 3 items are for consideration to authorize the city manager to negotiate, execute a contract. All the funding for these 3 items are from the fiscal year 23 Austin State Budget and Management Grant funding that was received by the police department. That total about $1 million. The first is for item 2, which is 2 Skywatch 2-person towers. So if you've been to Concord Mills Mall or to the racetracks and other places, that's the towable tower that extends up into the air that allows vantage points for the police officers to be able to see the surroundings. The use for those would be in crime areas, but also for city events such as tree lighting or the Christmas parade or various events to provide additional area or coverage in other areas that we don't necessarily have coverage. The total amount for that is $509,100.32.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
Also, they have cameras also to be unmanned. There's a type you're speaking of?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'd use those in my other job and very effective. So, yeah.
Thank you. Item 3, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate and execute a purchase contract with Forensic Technologies.
That is for the NIDA machine, which is, as some of you heard me refer to it as like a fingerprinting machine for the shell cartridges, the cartridges that are fired from firearms. That would allow for this grant funding to be used to pay for that purchase in the amount of $333,866.
All right, questions?
So to put this in lay terms, if you have a casing and you recover a gun, you can prove that that casing was fired from that gun?
Yes, sir.
All right. Item 4, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate and execute a purchase contract with Federal Contracts Corporation.
Yes, and item number 4 is to purchase 5 portable light towers. These are generator-powered light towers that we could take to the scene of a traffic accident, or we could take it to the scene of an intersection where power is out, and this would enhance the officer's safety when they're directing traffic, just as an example of one of these. And the amount for that purchase is $121,125.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, thank you. Thank you, Chief. Number 5, consider entering an agreement with North Carolina Department of Transportation in order to cover the overruns associated with widening of Derita Road.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Philip's going to cover items 5 and 6. Both of those are NCDOT-related projects. If you would, Philip.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Mr. Jacinski, Ms. Deason. First item again is an agreement with North Carolina Department of Transportation to cover the overruns for the TIP project, U-4910 A and B, also known as Derita Road, from Concord Mills Boulevard to Poplar Tent Road. The original agreement with this project stated that the federal funding equaled $17,810,000, and the city's contributed $4.1 million. As with all agreements with the state, the city municipality is responsible for all costs exceeding that estimate. The final and total cost of this project equals $39,950,000.
Not even close.
Somewhere outside of the ballpark. So approximately $18 million over the estimate. DOT approached us with this agreement, or with the idea of this agreement, understanding that was a unique situation, with the agreement that 50% would be covered by state funds, the other 50% would be our responsibility, which we then went to CRMPO to ask for an 80-20 split of direct allocation funds, which
Questions?
I'm gonna point something out. This MPO, we are about 30%, right? Concord is about 30% of our MPO. We have one vote. Rowan County actually has more votes on the MPO than Cabarrus County does. I was a little bit nervous about this. This is a substantial amount of block grant funding that the MPO awarded to Concord, because this would have been a huge budget hit. I would say we do this as quick as possible before DOT loses these funds. So,
Our peers were very kind to us.
Yeah. Very good. Any more comments? All right. Number 6, consider entering agreement with North Carolina Department of Transportation, convey right-of-way.
Another agreement with DOT. In this situation, this is referring to the I-85 project that has now been completed through Concord. Specifically in this project, there was the construction of the extension of Dickens Place Northeast and the construction of Vine Haven Drive Northeast at the Copperfield Boulevard area. That the original agreement referred to this, but did not give the details of the meets and bounds and all of the right-of-way exact pieces there. So this agreement is simply that it is the details of that right-of-way transfer, the drainage easements and so forth to bring those roads, which had already been agreed upon, the city of Concord property to us. Take any questions on that.
Any questions? All right. Thank you, Philip. Number 7, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate and execute a design build services with DR Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Jackie's going to come forward. She's going to cover us items 7, 8, 9, and 10 for council this evening. So Jackie, if you would.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Mr. Chiefy, and Mr. Houston. This is for an addition on Fire Station 3. So the addition will be about 1,900 square feet. It's a detached brick structure. We had an RFQ, a request for qualifications for design, build, construction services. The interviews were held and we called references. The selection committee went with DR Reynolds. They have worked on numerous projects for us before and with Fire Station. So the contract will be a fixed fee for pre-construction of $585,000 for the GM. That's the GMP for both the design and the construction. Any questions?
Question from council?
So what will the space be used for?
Gym space primarily. They're utilizing sort of
The Bay Area?
left of where they park their vehicles now. So this will give them a better place. I'm sure they have other plans as well, but that was one of the main purposes.
All right.
So we're really approving $1.2 million, correct?
No.
No, we're not. 585. Okay,
So
gotcha.
typically with the design build, we would do pre-construction and construction, so you would see us twice. This is so small, we're just gonna go with
Okay.
so you're saying the pre-construction and the construction are 585? That's not the way the agenda item reads.
It doesn't read that.
that was the intent, 585.
Total.
585 is the final.
So, 585 with $20,000 contingency.
Two separate contracts. Okay.
2 separate contracts, but we're only paying, just,
So it's one's
Confirm
fixed,
that, but I
one's
think
GMP.
this is 585 is the.
yeah. Wow. Wow. So that's it.
So that's the breakdown for the construction. The first one is a fixed fee for pre-construction, which I would,
So your design builder fee times 55.
that agenda item is
Yeah, I'm
not
sorry,
clear
that's
what we're voting on.
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah.
It's
better.
not a big, not a big clearance building.
So
That,
we need to reword it?
or do we just need to state it when we approve it?
Well, we will reword the agenda item for Thursday and have it in front of you.
Okay, that'd be good. All right, number 8, consider preliminary application from Tim Phelps.
Okay, so in accordance with City Code Chapter 62, Tim Phelps has submitted a preliminary act for water and sewer service at 2 separate parcels outside the city limits. They are located at 4301 and 4309 Whitetail Lane in Midland. The properties are vacant and they are planned to be developed with a single-family residence. They are zoned single-family residence.
Questions?
Okay, but hold on. Before we have questions, Jeff, could you please come up and share the discussion we had today? I called Jeff about these today.
Good.
And I do think the backstory or the information that you gave me
Stop the questions.
will answer the questions. Won't stop them, but answer the questions, so enlighten them. Try your best. Stop JC.
Anticipate everything you could possibly ask here in the next 5 minutes. So Deer Run is a neighborhood way south of Midland, south of downtown, the downtown area of Midland, probably a couple thousand feet from Muddy Creek, way down there. So the first thing to remember is the flow goes to Muddy Creek, so we're not in our sewer allocation discussion. But Deer Run as a neighborhood was developed in the late 90s, was a small one-street cul-de-sac subdivision. Sewer was only provided up to about midway, and over the last probably 5 or 10 years, additional lots on the other end of Whitetail have asked for service. Water is available, and some properties towards this side have put in private sewer pump lines through private property and tied into our public system. So we believe, based on the alignment, that this is the last 2 lots that we can possibly serve out of what was originally. So I'm comfortable if you are, and hopefully.
All but one question.
But also, there's an agreement, Valerie, can you talk about, so this water sewer agreement, so there was kind of a,
Midland, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah, it's in the city limits.
Right, but the agreement deals with the Rocky River treatment plant. It does not deal with the Muddy Creek.
But I thought there was an
Old
agreement
interlocal to provide water.
Oh, right.
talking about,
Agreement that
right.
basically says
Yeah.
the
That's what I'm talking about.
properties already annexed into Midland, if water is available, we generally have to serve them just like we would serve
Anybody else?
Correct.
And that stems from a time when, I guess the general consensus of our fearless leaders at that time wanted to be a regional service provider.
So that agreement says we provide water, and we've been providing sewer with that, I believe. Do you always bring these to us when they're inside the city limits of Midland? This is the first one I've seen like this.
I think it just happens few and far between.
Beautiful. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of construction in Midland.
And I don't believe that agreement referenced sewer at all.
It doesn't.
And again, there's a lot of areas down there that are water only anyway.
Did that answer it?
There you go.
He did it.
He did it. He did it.
I called because I know a lot of times the history behind that is something that I either don't know or have forgotten. And so Jeff and I were talking about some other WASAC issues today, and so I asked him about that. So I thought that would be helpful just to have that, and it might answer the questions.
Very good.
So what you're admitting to is you can't answer my question, but Jeff can.
I can answer them. I called Jeff.
Correctly. Yeah. All right, moving to number 9, consider preliminary application from Mark and Algia Tucker. Elijah.
Okay, so the same thing, they've submitted an application for water service at 1295 A. James Tucker Loop Road in Midland, outside the city limits. It's currently developed, and the owner would like to construct a single-family home. All parcels are zoned single. It's not available.
This one's in the city limits of Midland.
No,
also.
it says outside the city limits.
It's outside or inside?
Well,
Outside Concord,
Inside, yeah, keep being two.
well, no, but I'm just seeing how it's worded.
I know.
Right.
Yeah,
But she means outside Concord.
outside Concord, okay,
In the city of Midland.
got it,
So it would fall under that interlocal from 20 years ago.
got it. All right, all right, very good. And they don't have sewer, they're not near it, so that moves on.
This last one.
And consider a preliminary application from Carolina Thomas Development LLC.
The property is undeveloped and the applicant proposes to develop into a commercial facility. Sanitary sewer is not available to the parcel.
Okay, questions? All right. Number 11, thank you very much. Number 11, consider approving vision, mission, values, goals, strategies.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'll handle this one. This is a result of the conversation council had at the latest second work session last month. So I believe I understand it to be correct that council wanted to move forward with adoption of this and then discuss after that how to roll that out perhaps or market that to the community.
Everybody nodding on that? All right. Very good. Consent agenda, any items to be pulled off of consent agenda? All right, and no items to be pulled off. We're going to have a motion to go into closed session. Move that we go into closed session pursuant of NC General Statutes 143, 318, 11A4 in order to discuss the location, expansion of industries or other businesses in the area served by this public body. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion? Second. And a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you very much. We are in closed session. Chief.
Well, that's funny. You're calling him, I'm calling him. Everybody wants you, Jimmy. I just wanted to see what y'all decided to do about that one contract last week. I mean, like, I've always been told since we started, if nobody cares, just send it.